Good everyone, and welcome to this video. And today it's a Spade review and also a bit of just general life stuff. When this video comes out on the 26th, I will be away in London for the day. I know, I'm going down to the old London. Me and my sister are going down there for a couple of hours and things like that. Because there's a Pokemon Center. And me being a big kid, I want to go down there because, well, it's Pokemon. I've grown up with Pokemon most of my life, and well, I figured since I'm going somewhere British, like the capital of Britain, I thought I would do something British. I was originally going to do something Japanese, but I haven't spaded anything Japanese for quite a while. So I figured because of the obviously the Britishness inside of me, I thought I would do something British. And what better thing to spade review than the Challenger, the A30 Challenger. Now, this thing gets a bit of a bad rep in War Thunder, and I don't really understand why. I mean, it's based on the Cromwell chassis, so it's actually pretty fast. Its armor is, well, it's an allied tank. You don't really want to rely on your armor. I mean, the gunmetal's actually pretty strong, but And the 17-pounder cannon gets APDS, so that's always nice. So why do people give this thing a bad rep? Well, looking at what I've seen online, things like that, people complained about it being when it was 5.7, which fair enough. I mean, that makes total sense. But at 5.3, people still seem to complain about it. The 17-pounder cannon is perfectly capable at 5.3, especially now that it's got APDS rounds, which I'll go through in a moment. Otherwise, you get your standard armor-piercing rounds, such as the Shot Mark 8, which is 190mm of penetration, as I'll go through the modifications now. You get your Shot Mark 8, you get your Shot Mark 4, Shot Mark 6, which you start out with, which is actually quite a good shell. It's quite a good shell to start off with. Then we get on to the big boy. You get Saber rounds. Now, this Saber round can punch through a Panther's front plate at pretty much any distance you like, it feels like. I was able to punch through a Panther's front plate over a kilometer at one point. Now, the APDS does not do a lot of damage, so you've got to take that into consideration. What I recommend you do is, if you're going to engage Panther, shoot the turret with armor piercing, then load an APDS and put it through the front. That's how I kill Panthers. Obviously, in this battle, you'll pretty much see that in that tactic being used. Now, the battle I'm going to show you is the final battle I had to spade the tank, and well, I got my best result because apparently Gaijin likes to give me my best results when I finish spading a vehicle, which is very typical because you just look at my Chinese spades and that'll tell you everything. Now, obviously, let's go over the armor briefly, go over the mobility, which it's the same as the Cromwell, so I'm not really going to go over that. So, lower glacis, 57mm, not going to stop anything. Upper glacis, 63. Driver's port, 63.5. Well, I'm just going to call it 63. Side armor, or higher up side armor, 50mm. Lower part, 14. This is where people get a bit conflicted, but there is 2 layers, so you get 28mm of armor. Rear, 38 on both sections. Turret front, this is where a lot of people complain. And to be honest, every tank's got to have a weakness. This is no exception. So on the side, you get 63mm of protection, which won't stop much. I mean, it'll probably stop light anti-aircraft rounds. But other than that, it's not really that good. It's when you get to the turret front, is in the gun mantlet area. 102. This is actually pretty dang strong. And with it having the vertical aiming drive behind it, as well as the cannon breech, this spot actually soaks up quite a bit of rounds. But don't rely on it. Then there's an additional 102mm plate protecting this part of the gun mantlet as well, and the actual gun breech itself. So overall, it's actually not got that bad armor. I mean, the side armor is terrible, the rear armor is pretty bad, and the front armor is not going to save you. But for the most part, this thing's got good characteristics. There is one other thing, but we will cover that when we're in the battle, which I'm going to load up right now. And I gave it my all this battle, but my team just didn't want to pull their weight, so unfortunately, this battle was a loss. So, whilst I think the plane is actually like, well, why did I say plane? I mean, whilst I think the tank is good, I think I see why people struggle with it. And that's because they get overconfident. They unlock the APDS and then they go full retard against Germans and die. Trust me, I've seen a lot of Challenger drivers do that. And it's just, I don't get why people go full retard in this tank. It's not designed for it. So, obviously in this battle, I needed about 66 RP to spade this thing. And I thought, well, I don't really have to do much. I could just get like a hit and then camp somewhere. So I thought, okay, let's just get on the move, get into position, and let's see what happens. So, mobility. As you can see, pretty dang good. It really does move once you get it spaded. Stock, it's not very good. I mean, it gets moving eventually. You do want to unlock your tracks quite early on in the Spade, because the tracks do not provide a lot of grip when they're stock, so just bear that in mind. And obviously with your armor wanting to be as crap as it is, it's not relied upon. You don't want to rely on your armor. In a position like this, and I just got an arty kill, just to point out, that's my first kill of this game. And at that point, I burst out laughing and just said spaded. Because, well, it's done now. This thing's done. So, obviously there I see a Panther, and I'm thinking, okay, it's a Panther. I get a decent hit, get the loader, turret drive, and at this point, I believe I'm loading the APDS. But I lose my track. The shot from that Panzer 470 actually goes through my track and takes out the PT-76 that was behind me. So, APDS rounds, you can slice right through a Panzer 470. As that poor sod found out. Second kill. Now, I knew roughly where the Panther was parked, but since I was a track down and I might need to reverse at some point, which the reverse is 1 mile an hour, people, it's terrible. I figured, okay, I'll just sit here and wait for the track to repair, drop a smoke grenade. You get 30 smoke grenades, and the 17-pounder can also fire smoke rounds, so this thing can provide a good bit of cover for your team. That is, of course, if you decide to help your team. Trust me, I tried to help my team as much as I could, and they still fucked it up, because this is Allied teams for you. I did have to laugh a couple of days ago. Raptor Jesus in Discord said, and you can see what I mean by limited damage on the APDS rounds. It isn't doing that much. But he was saying like Allied teams don't suck. Well, mate, this is one of them, or one of the many that I had that sucked. Spade in this tank. So I'm just sitting back and waiting for the Panther's smoke to clear, so that I can put another APDS right for his front plate. Obviously, I carry 30 AP CBC, the Shot Mark 8, and I carry 15 Sabo. That seems to be pretty effective for me. Obviously, that will be depending on how you feel. Do not fire pure APDS. You look like a twat if you don't one-shot a tank, because trust me, the 17-pounder AP is actually pretty good. So, don't forget to bring some. If you're less experienced with the actual Challenger, I recommend doing, I'd probably say 25 AP and 20 Sabo. Obviously, Sabo is not guaranteed penetration. As you saw, it hit the Panther's mantlet and bounced off. And, well, I'm getting air support by a... I don't know what this Jumbo is doing. He's just been a retard. He doesn't do anything. He just sits in front of that Panther and he's going to get smoked by... I think it's a... Waffenträger or a Nashorn. I can't remember what smokes him. But at the moment he's shooting at something. I can't remember what he's shooting at. But he just drove around the corner, started shooting at me with his MGs. Like, what do you want me to do? I've got no armor, mate. There's the armor on this thing will not save me against a Panther. Even the gun mantler is a questionable penetration for a Panther's gun. And you can see he's just sat in the open. He's not angling. I mean, he's not even trying to hide his MG port, and he's just gonna sit there. So APDS right for the front. I damaged the Panther pretty good. Take out the engine. Another APDS. You can see what I mean. It's taking a lot of hits, this Panther, but I'm gonna get there in the end. And there we go. Panther down. Third kill. Like I said, the APDS is really best used against Panthers. Tiger 2Ps are a good target with the APDS because it will go through and hit the ammunition rack at the back of the turret. But otherwise, save your APDS for Panthers. Otherwise, well, I mean, Panzer 470s are good targets for the APDS rounds. But otherwise, you want to keep the AP loaded. So, at this point, our team's getting pretty much battered on the B point, so I thought I'll move up here and I'll sit here. And well, I'm glad I did, because, well, there's two Panthers pushing the B point. The second Panther takes out that M18 there. Obviously, the M18 just rushing like a retard, as per usual. Now, I struggle to identify Panthers, so I thought, well, he's a D model, he's not going to be as big a threat. But then I thought, hold on, that's a G. I don't know what happened with that round, though. It was absorbed by the fuel tank. But that one didn't. It went straight through, took out everything in that turret. Then, third shot, takes out the rest of the crew. Fourth kill. And, well, there goes number 5. That's an ace in a day. The AP rounds on this 17-pounder are brutal. And, well, there goes that Jumbo who you saw earlier. He just died to a Nashorn. So, he was really useful. So obviously I spin the tank around. It does have neutral steering, similar to a Cromwell. Very nice neutral steering. Very nice to use it. So at this point I'm thinking, right, what's down here? And I'm just going to move this so you can see what it is. It's a Tiger. We've got a Tiger and a Whirlwind pushing down this road. Now, this 17-pounder AP is perfectly capable of going through a Tiger with little issue, especially with the way this guy drove his Tiger. Obviously, I'm waiting. I'm looking around the corner. I'm using third person. And I'm thinking, does the Tiger know I'm here? And as it turns out, he doesn't know I'm here. He's just being very cautious, so I don't blame him. I'm just sat here watching him. I knew there was a Whirlwind as well. And this is where the Tiger gets his big boy pants on, and he's coming around the corner thinking, oh, this is going to be clear. I'm going to have the easiest flank of my life. I'm going to get the B point for a bit of capture points. No, you're not, pal. AP right through the front. Gunner, commander, driver. Next shot. Rest of the crew. 6th kill. Now we've got a Whirlwind to deal with. So I was thinking at this point, what should I do? Because obviously it's a Whirlwind, it can rip me to bits if it gets the chance. I was thinking of going out front first and angling to see if he will fire at it, but I decided no. I'll turn the tank around with the neutral steering. I'll keep the gun backwards so that way I can at least watch where I'm driving, but at the same time I can at least cover myself. And now I'll just sit here and wait for him. Because this poor sod decides to push me. He probably thought that he could take a Challenger, but he didn't actually know where I was. And well, AP right for the front, or for the side, sorry. Forgot to mention, the reload rate on this thing is insane. On a maximum crew, you can get down to 5 seconds, because you actually have 2 loaders in this tank. Both in the back of the turret. And I forgot to mention the side and rear of the turret armor. Don't even bother, it's like 40mm. Don't rely on it. It's terrible. At this point, though, I spot that Nashorn. I'm thinking, okay, well, I've just dumped smoke, so Should I pull forward, or... Then I thought, I'll spin the tank round, get the frontal armor towards whatever may be coming down the road. I'll dump a few more smoke down, just to make sure, and I'll go deal with that Narsaughton. Now this Narsaughton was playing like a heavy tank, so I had to play it carefully, and I thought, okay, AP, hit the gun breach, pretty much did nothing, and I thought, okay, maybe again, and I get a hull break. Logic, 8th kill. But you can just see the team is just rapidly depleting. I'm pulling my weight, and there's nothing I can do to save this team. And you can just see this team is just dying left, right, and centre. And we still have another 4 minutes to go, so you can sort of understand the pressure I was under to keep myself alive, but keep getting kills. Obviously, I didn't need them, but even so. So at this point, I'm thinking, right, well, I need to fall back, I think. But then I figure, nah. Let's turn around and head back to my original spot that I was using earlier. And obviously at this point, I fire out the AP and I load an APDS, because I'm fairly certain there's going to be something down this road. Sure enough, there is. There's a Waffenträger set at the end of the road. However, this being Gaijin, they were blessing me today for some reason, which is very unusual. Normally I get fucked over by Gaijin. And well, I'm gonna go for a shot against that Waffenträger in a moment, and we're gonna get a very lucky shot because I didn't even aim it that well. I'll be brutally honest, I didn't even aim it that well. So I pull forward. Obviously, I'm making sure the Waffenträger doesn't fire. There is a Tiger coming down that road as well. Obviously, I'm looking. I see the Tiger's not looking, so I figure, okay, it's worth it. I thought, should I go for the Tiger or should I go for the Waffenträger? And I thought, Waffenträger's harder to kill. But no, I get a hull break, so that's kill number 9. So I figured at this point, that Tiger's probably going to push down here, so I'm going to dump smoke and I'm going to fall back. And I'm sort of glad I did. So now, skipping ahead, I've already dropped a bit of artillery earlier on. At this point, I'm thinking, I'll just hide here. And obviously there's spawn campers coming in. We've got one plane left, which is a Yak 3P, who is not doing much for the team. And I'm thinking at this point, well, there's probably going to be something coming up this back road. So I'll point the arse of my tank to him, and we'll just keep an eye out. And again, sort of glad I did, because there's going to be a Panther coming down that road. And there he is. It's a Panther A. Now he doesn't actually see me. So I'm thinking if I just hold still like a statue, I'll be like a weeping angel. Of course, a weeping angel does not pack a 70-pounder, but even so. And I was thinking, is this guy going to react? I mean, I know his driver and gun is dead, but normally you would at least put your smoke down or something. But I thought, okay, you're not going to react, I'll just kill you. Kill number 10. And that is the end of the battle. 10 kills, 1 assist, and a loss. Very typical. And I just realised there's a sound bug going on. If you listen carefully, you can hear the Oswind. But so far, this tank has been absolute fun. Obviously, I'll have to grind the skins out for it eventually. Had an absolute blast with the tank. Obviously, I'll show you my stats in the vehicle. And I can still hear that sound bug going on, but whatever, we'll ignore it. No, that's planes. Challenger is 14 deaths, 1 air kill, 85 or 84 kills. Pretty decent results, 6-to-1 kill death ratio in this tank. Very impressed by it. Like I say, just don't rely on your armor and you'll be perfectly fine in this tank, especially when you load this APDS. But like I say, do not prioritize the APDS. You can cope just fine with the 17-pounders AP rounds. However, if you are going to use the APDS, don't use it as your primary round. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video on the Challenger. Obviously, I'll be away in London. In fact, no, I'll be almost in London by the time this video comes out. Obviously at 9:30 because I've changed my upload schedule. Um, I'll get some nice Pokemon stuff, and well, I will see you then. See you on the next one.